Well, we got a special edition of Dolphins Today, that is for sure. The Miami Dolphins have made their second signing this week, this one in the form of Calais Campbell. Yes, you heard that correctly. The Dolphins have added yet another player to the roster, and it is Calais Campbell. Fun fact about what I'm doing right now, and if you can't tell, I'm outside. I am having a company party, and Chat Sports is having a get-together out at a bar, but breaking news takes precedent, so we are making this video for you guys, breaking down the Calais Campbell signing and news. So that is why you subscribe to the channel, because even when I'm out at a bar, I'm going to make sure you're covered on the latest surrounding the Miami Dolphins. But let's talk about Calais Campbell, because this could not be a better signing for the Miami Dolphins. We've talked in depth about the need for an interior defensive lineman after losing Christian Wilkins in free agency, and they needed to add someone alongside Zach Sealer to make sure that this interior can handle against a good rushing attack. And when the draft happened and when I took over the channel, right, we talked about how the three biggest needs was right guard, third safety, defensive tackle number 2 was Zach Sealer. Well, in the span of the last week, the Dolphins have taken care of 2 out of the 3, signing Calais Campbell and then signing Marcus Maye to be the third safety earlier this week on Monday. So now Chris Grier is really attacking this roster and what they need. And the reason why Calais Campbell was always a realistic possibility, in my opinion, was due to the fact that he is 37 years old. He's nearing the end of his career. He wants to play for a competitor and someone who could win a championship this season. And obviously the Dolphins roster, which is one of the best in the NFL, is a easy choice. Calais Campbell also played his college ball at the University of Miami. So this is a homecoming for Campbell. He played in Jacksonville, he played in Arizona, played in Baltimore, Atlanta last year, and now he finally gets to come home and play for the Miami Dolphins. It just is a match made for both of these guys, as I try to fumble with this camera, sorry. But either way, we're making sure you have everything covered on the Dolphins, don't you worry. But if you're excited for Calais Campbell to be a Dolphin, spam those CCs for me down in the comment section, his initials, and get fired up for Calais Campbell. But this is the reason why this is such a big deal. And he was so good last year, even as a 36, 37-year-old playing for the Falcons. He had 6.5 sacks. He had 10 TFLs. Like, this is someone who can be extremely versatile for the Dolphins. He can play inside alongside Zach Sealer. He can play on the outside if absolutely necessary. Who knows what the health is going to be for Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips as they return from serious injuries. If they are not able to be fully 100% prior to the regular season starting against the Jacksonville Jaguars on September 8th, well then Calais Campbell can play on the outside. But that is also just one of the many things he can do. I mentioned the 10 TFLs Campbell had a year ago. He was able to stop the run as well as get after the pass rusher. At age 37, I don't know how many times I can say this, he is still one of the more productive defensive linemen in the entire NFL, and this is someone who just adds more depth to Miami, which is just massive for the Dolphins as they were trying to replace the massive hole that was left by Christian Wilkins going to the Raiders in free agency. Like, we talked so in depth about Campbell, and it's just glad, and it's honestly rewarding almost to a point to where, like, we talked about Campbell being a free agent target for the Dolphins so much this offseason and over the past 3 weeks or so, to where that it finally happens, and it's just like you feel vindicated. So I'm super excited for him to have a homecoming. I mentioned off the top he played his final ball, or his college ball, as a Miami Hurricane, so he returns to the 305, which is absolutely electric. And now the biggest thing to me is this the last move? I very well think it could be. Like, Chris Grier has a big-time decision, because we'll revisit the 3 needs that I mentioned one more time was right guard, defensive line depth, and third safety. They addressed defensive line depth as well as the third safety position this week. Now, how much cap space do the Dolphins have left? I have to check the numbers once again, but I'd imagine it's close to like $5-6 million. Calais Campbell, I haven't seen the exact contract details. Like I said, I'm out at a bar. I just had to step out. Nice little scenery behind me and get this video for y'all. But either way, I'd imagine it's $6 million, $7 million left. They signed Chop Robinson to his rookie contract today, so they have the entire draft class signed. They made the signing of Marcus Maye and Campbell, and I'm guessing they still have $5 or $6 million left over. So the question now I guess we have to ask is will they address the right guard position? That's the biggest one if you're asking me. We've talked in depth about Greg Van Roten. Calais Campbell, Greg Van Roten, the two free agents I think we've talked about the most on the channel outside of Justin Simmons, but Justin Simmons was obviously ixnayed after they made the signing of Marcus May. So will the Dolphins go out and sign a right guard? I mean, that really is the question that we have to ask. I don't think they will. And I've kind of always said this, and I'm going to continue to stick with this thought process, is like, the Dolphins' three needs, I thought they were going to address two of them. It was just a matter of which two they were going to address. Now, I did think one of them was going to be right guard, because right guard I thought was the biggest need of them all. But after seeing them get a safety and get a defensive lineman in Calais Campbell, I almost think they feel confident about their right guard rotation of Robert Jones, Jack Driscoll, Liam Eichenberg as the backup center, and maybe even Lester Cotton competing for that position. So to me, maybe Greg Van Roten will slide past and they won't actually make that move. They're just going to stick with what they got and ride with adding Calais Campbell and Marcus May. But either way, I am ecstatic about this move. Grade it for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Grade the signing of Calais Campbell. And I feel like I'm going to apologize one more time, but like, I have to do it. I'm sorry for like the bad camera angle here, quality. I'm outside. I don't know if you hear cars going by or not, but either way, like I just had to get this video out. Like there's no way I could have waited while we were at a bar as a company. Nah, I had to get this video out for the real ones at Dolphins Today. So that's why you make sure you hit your sub button and get your grades down below. But that. I think the way I want to close out this video is, are we done, right? Like, we talked about Van Roten in this video already in this episode. Will they make that signing? Will they not make this signing? But to me, with the cap space situation and about 5 weeks until training camp gets underway once again in late July when this team comes together, I think the only move that I could see happening for the rest of this offseason until we come together for training camp and preseason is a Tua Tagovailoa extension. Trevor Lawrence got paid earlier this afternoon $55 million on annual average salary over 5 years. He got the absolute bag with $200 million guaranteed, but it's not fully guaranteed. It's like if he makes the roster or if he's on the team 3 years from now, he gets more guaranteed. But either way, that's the one move I see the Dolphins doing the rest of this offseason. I honestly think they're not going to sign Greg Van Roten, which could be a bad decision in its own right, and we'll have to have that conversation if they don't address that right guard spot, and we'll look back at them not making that move in the regular season if it's really ugly and Tua is getting hit all the time thanks to that right guard hole. But the one thing that I think the Dolphins are going to try to lock up the rest of the regular season is the quarterback Tua Tagovailoa extension, because after Calais Campbell signing with the team, I think they'll carry the $6-7 million of cap space into the season just in case they need it due to injury or a trade that they need to take back. But that's kind of where I'm at with the situation. Calais Campbell is maybe the last addition to this roster, but I could not be more ecstatic with Campbell joining this team. Calais Campbell's going to be a beast. He's a good depth piece. He's going to be a great tag team to Zach Zeeler, and he's also going to be great in adding depth to the pass rush and edge department as well. That's going to do it for this video. Appreciate you guys bearing with me. If you watched this entire video, you're a real one. I'm sorry for the selfie bad camera work. I was by myself. I didn't want to take anybody else away from hanging out at the bar. But go Fins. We got Calais Campbell. And for many of you guys in the chat that have been saying that I just talk free agency and they're not going to make any of these moves, well, they added a third safety and a defensive lineman like I've been saying. So take that. But either way, I'll see you in another video tomorrow. Go Fins. Thank goodness Calais Campbell is a Dolphin. Let's go.